This portion of the Pensacola Expert Panel is sponsored and presented by The Financial Future Show and your host, Eric Niederlehner, who is responsible for the content. Views expressed do not necessarily represent those of News Radio 1620.
Eric, you're such a good dancer. News Radio 1620, 936, and it is your financial future with Eric Niederlehner. And how's it going, Eric?
It's going well. Yeah, I missed my calling. Should have gone into dancing. It was a toss-up between law and backup
so you
dancer,
think you could dance?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should try out for the next season, definitely.
Maybe. Put on my list. It's on my bucket list.
There you go. Perfect. All right. Well, what's going on with you, and how's this week been?
Well, I don't know. I hadn't been in the office yet, but it looks like it's going to be a busy one. Last week, I did see my first people in the office claiming direct financial problems from the oil spill. One had been laid off from a hotel out on the beach, and the other one had a little seafood market. And so the oil's coming, and the problems are starting to fester here as well, with loss of income and loss of jobs. And I encourage people that are out there, in the tourist industry or restaurant industry, out on the beach or wherever, and starting to see the writing on the wall that their hours may be cut back or may lose their job altogether, that now's the time to pre-plan and find out options, whether it's bankruptcy, budgeting, what have you, just to see what's available and how to contact BP and file their claim and all those kinds of things that we have to deal with now that the oil is right off our shores.
I know. It's so stressful and gut-wrenching all at the same time, But, folks, if you have any questions for Eric during the show, 437-1620 is our number. It's 437-1620. And your areas of expertise, Eric, are?
I practice bankruptcy, Chapter 7, Chapter 13. Those are the personal bankruptcy chapters. Chapter 13 being a 5-year repayment plan typically. So you pay some or all the debt back over a 5-year period. The good thing about a Chapter 13 is if you're behind on like a house or a car and your mortgage company's lost your paperwork that you've sent them 20 different times and you've been hung up on by, a phone operator in a outsourced country or something, and you can't get your mortgage company to work with you because you don't qualify for one of the federal mortgage programs or modification programs, then a Chapter 13 is a way to bring your home current during the repayment period. So at the end of the plan, you're current and you just go on making your regular monthly mortgage payments. And if you bring your plan current, bring your house current during the plan, if you have unsecured debt like credit cards, medical bills, they may get paid pennies on the dollar. And if you still have that unsecured debt owing at the end of your Chapter 13 plan, then that debt is discharged and you no longer owe it. Another good thing is if you have a lot of current federal taxes due, a Chapter 13 plan is a good way to restructure that debt and get it paid off over the repayment period. Chapter 7 is liquidation, and basically it just wipes out the unsecured debts and lets you start over. Typically you do get to keep your house and car if you're current on those and continue to be current on them and make those payments during and after the bankruptcy. So that's the typical question that I get a lot. People are afraid that they're going to lose their house and car, and rarely does that happen in a bankruptcy unless you're just behind on it. You can't bring it current. There's no income to get you into a Chapter 13 or not enough income to get you current on the house in a Chapter 13. Then you can file a Chapter 7, wipe out all those debts, and just let you start over. And that's That's typically the chapter that most people file as a Chapter 7 that wipes out their debts and let them start over.
All right, 437-1620 is our number, and if you have any questions for Eric, he can maybe help you get out of that situation, or at least if you are already in that situation, get out of it with as least amount of pain as possible. Not always easy, huh?
No, it's not always easy, but I had a client come in, or a potential client come in last week, and they had tried a debt consolidation, and that's essentially what a Chapter 13 is, but Chapter 13 has the force of law behind it. So the creditors have to work on it, or work with you, whereas a debt consolidation, it's at the creditor's option if they want to take the lesser payment or if they want to even deal with you. And unfortunately, this potential client went with one of these debt consolidation places they heard on the radio or on the TV or internet or wherever, and they didn't read the contract, and they made their payment. It was a hefty payment. They couldn't really afford it. The debt consolidation company didn't sit down and do a budget with them to see how much they could pay. They just said, how much debt do you have? Okay, this is your monthly payment. Well, they made their payment for 6-7 months, and all that payment was doing was going to the debt consolidation company to pay their fees up front, which were really high, about $2,800. And it looks like we have a caller. Let's see what they have to say.